All right. I just got back from work. Well, a little while ago, but I kind of just getting ready here to. I thought about going back to school tonight, but like I usually do, but I'm gonna hang out till tomorrow morning. And in the meantime, I'm going to do a time lapse of me tearing some stuff down on this. Nothing crazy, just a few things, just because there's some things I'm not gonna use. Like I'm gonna take off the intake manifold, get the injectors out. It's already off, but I need to get the injectors out. Probably going to take the exhaust manifolds off because I'm not going to use those, because if you look at them, they're like maybe an inch and a half thick, so those can't flow very good. So I'm going to use shorty headers because they should run about the same clearance to the steering shaft as these, so I should be okay. Other than that, I think I might leave it together for now. So, yeah, enjoy the time lapse. Okay, yeah, so I got the injectors out. They're all here. I don't know if you could hear much while that's going. Oh, I missed it. Oops. So if you see here, the injectors, that's what they look like. There's supposed to be an O-ring and then like a little plastic snap thing that snaps on the end. So it's supposed to look like this, without the rip, obviously. See if it'll focus much. But these are the stock injectors for the Navigator. I plan on running these at least for a little bit, because injectors are not cheap, and I'd like to just throw the swap together as cheap as I can first run, so then once I get it together, I can start seeing what I really need to upgrade and what I can stick with for a little bit. So the only thing is I'll need which sucks, I have to upgrade the like stock fuel pump like almost immediately. So I've got to figure out a in-tank, because I want to do an in-tank setup. I don't like doing like fuel cells. Just, that's me. I don't know. Street car, I guess. I want to be able to buy my groceries and stuff and have them in the back. So yeah, I was looking at Aeromotive in-tank pump, but the Aeromotive setup's actually rather expensive. Surprise, surprise. Not really. But I could do a like homemade in-tank one pump setup for probably a quarter of the price. Because I could get a Walboro on eBay for a decent price, and I don't know what the stock sending unit, I guess you could call it, looks like in the Fox body, where the fuel pump is connected and stuff inside the tank. I don't know what that looks like. This is my first Fox body, so I've never looked inside a tank. But eventually, obviously, I'm going to have to drop a tank. Oh gosh, these valves look very dirty. Drop the tank to upgrade the fuel system. Hopefully the tank is in decent condition and it's not like horrendous inside. If it is, maybe I'll just buy a whole new tank, because I know Aeromotive sells tanks. I've got a friend, Eddie. He has a Mustang he's putting LS in. I kind of like his idea, but I kind of don't want to cut the car up at all. But he's putting a 16-gallon fuel cell in the trunk below like the surface of the trunk, so you can still like cover it up and then put groceries and stuff in the trunk, which is super dope, and I think it's a super cool idea. But I'd hate to have to mess with out of tank fuel pumps with a fuel cell and stuff. I don't know, it's kind of complicated to do it, but it's kind of simple once it's done, I guess, the in-tank stuff. And I've messed with the Acura. I put a fuel pump in it and stuff recently, and back out and a stock one in because it was a cheap one. But so that wasn't too bad. So I'm hoping that doing it on the LTD shouldn't be too bad. The worst part is you got to drop the whole tank because it's an 80s car. Nobody's like, oh yeah, let's make the fuel tank accessible. No, they didn't think that way. So I'm gonna have to drop the tank, which probably won't be too bad once we get our 2-post lift. Yeah, as you can see, okay, we got a 4-post here, and we're gonna have a 2-post that sits literally right here where the race car is, where my dad's car is. So then, once the 2-post is here, I want to do front suspension on the LTD, rear suspension arms on the LTD, and then bolt this to the trans and see how they fit in the car, and then go from there. Okay, so I just took the exhaust manifolds off, which you'll probably see if you watch the time lapse. I said I wasn't going to. I changed my mind. I was sitting here, you know, why not? And I thought I'd show. So you can see the gaskets on here, and if you look, so see where the. I should get. Let's do this. Okay, so right, you can see where all the soot is built up. From where the gasket was. See, you can only see the soot now. Now you can see the fresh metal. Well, if you look how the gasket lines up, I can't see if I can. If you look where the gasket lines up, see all the metal that overlaps? That's all metal that can be ported away. And once ported away, it can have massive flow gains for these heads. And also, if you look inside, you can see that thing right there that's lit up inside the port. That's, I don't know what you want to call it, a valve split or something. And that's where it splits off and then goes this way to the one valve and the other way to the other valve. That can be trimmed down and thinned and helps airflow also. So these heads, although in factory form don't flow the greatest, actually have possibility to flow more than the FR 500 heads, or so I've read. I'm not sure that's fact, but I do know for a fact that I read that. So, and just, we'll take a look up here, so hopefully I can find a clean one. This one's not bad. So if you look down in there, you can see the valves. There's not much room for, well, there's probably a little room for porting up here. But if you look down in there, those valves are pretty clean. I mean, granted, this motor was only 85,000 miles, but there's next to, I mean, those things are good. There's some stuff in there, which I'll probably get a shop vac before I get too into this thing and sweep out all the intake ports so we don't get anything trapped in there and try to start the engine and beat up the cylinder walls or anything. Because, you know, if something gets in the cylinder, it doesn't always just burn up or go out an exhaust valve. It can, even a little piece of walnut or something could get in there and beat around and really damage your cylinder. Like, you'd be surprised what could make an engine fail. So be sure to clear that out before we put the intake manifold back on. So that's that. I'm gonna put together the engine for the LTD with stock ports, intake and exhaust, because I feel that's eventually down the road I'll pull the engine out and have it built, or buy another one to build. And so I'll have those heads ported so they'll flow a lot more. And of course, you know, I gotta, anytime you guys are doing something, always try and keep everything organized, because doing this can make everything way more easier to put back together. So that's probably all I'm gonna film for tonight. Get back on the boys here on Discord. We're chatting it up. They're playing Among Us. I'm working on this thing. I'm muted right now, so you might be able to hear them every now and then. But so thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.